Are the Russians rising up?
Pleasure. Well, I think it's showing what a desperate situation this is. Your point about the hostages being returned, the prisoners being returned, that's really good news. That's about the only good news we've seen coming out of Ukraine and Russia recently. But the mobilization of 300,000 ostensibly young fighting age males in Russia is almost state-sponsored homicide. These young kids, again, get a day or two's training, given a rifle, and put in the trenches. They're fighting well-trained, highly motivated, highly capable forces in Ukraine. Even the basic Ukrainian troops who come to the UK to be trained have a month's training before going into the front line. So it's absolutely desperate. The Russians claim they've lost 5,000 troops killed in this war. It's officially been designated of about 50,000. The reality is it's probably nearer 100,000. So to try and grab people off the streets, and as your pictures are showing, these are not willing volunteers. And from my 30 years fighting in battlefields, you really need to want to do it to be successful. If you're being dragged there, you haven't a hope.
A Ukrainian politician tweeted something the other day, which I thought was quite interesting. It just said more Russian troops equals more dead Russians. Is that true?
Absolutely right. I mean, it does sound very callous. And it's dreadful talking about human beings in this way, which is why, we must try and make sure that this doesn't happen. Because those young boys being dragged off the streets, are they going to be put in the front line? It's a bit like the First World War, in battles of Ypres and Passchendaele, where tens, if not hundreds of thousands of young men walked into bullets to their deaths. And this is what we're going to see with these Russian kids, because they will stand no chance against the weaponry in the fight of the Ukrainians, and of course the advanced weaponry that we're giving them as well. And with yesterday also Putin and Markov and Medvedev threatening us with nuclear attack, just shows how absolutely desperate they are. And Putin's walls seem to be crumbling. Let's hope there are a few sane people in the Kremlin at the moment, and will remove him from power. And I expect more importantly, or more likely, the Russian people, who, as you say, are now rising up, the sort of protests we've never seen before. Hopefully they're the people who are going to bring Putin down and get some sort of peace in Ukraine, rather than this carnage which is going to unfold, I'm sure, over the next couple of months, if nothing else happens.
I'm going to return to the protests in Russia a bit later on. I want to get you as a military perspective, really, on this. And some people will say that the return of hostages, or captives, as it were, these British chaps that have now come home, and some videos circulating online, I'm sure people have seen them, of supposedly Ukrainian soldiers with suspiciously American accents, for example. Have foreign forces not just been giving the Ukrainian army weapons, but also personnel as well? Because if that is the case, then it's not just Ukrainians fighting the Russians, is it?
Well, I think we have to be very careful here. Absolutely, the international community, NATO and the UK in particular, have given the Ukrainians a hell of a lot of advice, a hell of a lot of equipment, and a hell of a lot of intelligence, which has allowed them to defeat the Russians' conventional forces. When it comes to foreigners, if you like, fighting for the Ukraine, absolutely, there are lots of people who have gone to Ukraine to create these sort of foreign legions that are fighting there. As some people have suggested, are there British or American troops fighting there? Absolutely not. In fact, I'm convinced that there would be no official British and American troops fighting there. Are there British and American citizens fighting there? Absolutely there are.